There. Stay safe. Okay, for today we're gonna learn about introduction, but before we start to introduction, I think I need to inform you that we need to learn about asking for personal information when you meet someone new at school or on the street. I think you need to ask for personal information to get to know each other, right? So, what is personal information? It is information about a person's name, address, phone number, profession or jobs, date of birth, country of origin, etc. So those are basic information that you need to know. When you are asking for personal information, of course, you need to make a sentence uh, in questions. So you need to ask in a good question, right? So there are two types of questions. The first one is WH questions or yes or no questions. When you want to give questions about personal information, it's always in present simple. So you have to follow the structure of the present simple tense. So it's usually used present simple because it's related to someone's identity. So it's like that. And here are the basic things that you have to know. When you are making a questions, it's very important for you to know about the English sentence. There are two there are two kinds of English sentence in general. The first one is action verb, and the second one is condition. So I need to make a review about this because it's very important for you to know before you are making questions. Action verbs is a sentence that contain with action verbs within the sentence. Let's see the example. The first example, I put two kinds of example here. The first is singular subject with singular subject, and the second one is with plural subject. She studies English. Okay, in this sentence you can see an action verb. So what's the action verb here? It's study, right? Because you are doing something, it's called by action verb. And the subject here is singular. She is singular. So you need to put es or s at the end of the verb. When you are making it in positive, she studies English, and you need to make a negative for this. She doesn't study English. Okay, good. You need only to put thus and not before the verb. Be like this. And when you will make questions, just move thus to the front of the sentence before the subject itself. So it becomes does you study English? So study here back to normal study, not studies anymore because does is here in front of the sentence. So when you are making a question, just remember about the sentence itself. Is it action verb in the sentence or not? And the second is plural subject, sentence with plural subject. We study English, so the subject is plural, right? You don't need to put es or s at the end of the verb because the subject is plural. For example, we, they, or I, something like that. And when you are making a negative form, just put do not before the verb. We do not study English. Okay, and how to change the sentence into interrogative form or into a questions form? Just move do to the front of the sentence. Put it before the subject, so it becomes do we study English? Okay, it's all about action verbs. You will find an action in the sentence. study is one example. And the second type is condition, or you can call it by nominal sentence, because the sentence contains with to be or auxiliary verb, not action like this. For example, English is fun. You will not find a subject, you will not find an action here because it's a condition. So you need to use is or are or was or something like that. And it's singular subject. English is a single entity, or you can call it something that is singular. So you need to put is here. I'll explain about the singular and plural verb in the next video, I think. When you want to make a question from this sentence, just move the to be to the front of the sentence, just like this verb. And it becomes, is English fun? So the to be will be in the front of the sentence, just before the subject itself. And how you make a sentence from plural subject? Look at this example. The students are smart. Okay, the students are smart. So you use are instead of is, because the subject is plural. And the negative form is the students are not smart. Just put not after the to be itself. And how to change it into interrogative? Just put to be in the front of the sentence. Are the students smart? Okay. So when you find the two kind of questions like does she study English? Do we study English? Or is English fun? Are the students smart? You need to answer yes or no. Does she study English? Yes, she does. Or do we study English? Yes, we do. Or English fine? Yes, it is. Are the students smart? Yes, they are. So, okay, I think that's enough for the basics information. Just move to this core material that we have. The WH questions. So there are so many kinds of questions that you have to know, and one of them is WH question or questions words. There are two main types, like what I said before. There are two kinds, yes or no, and WH question. And WH questions are questions starting with WH words, including what, when, where, who, whom, which, whose, why, and how. I think you are so familiar with these kind of questions. When you have an English test, you must be familiar with this. Okay, let's go to the first what. The first question using what. What is used to ask about things? When you want to ask about things, you need to use what. What are your favorite foods? It's asking about your favorite foods. So you need to answer. My favorite foods are ice cream, chocolate, and so on. And the second example, what do you think about the movie? So you can answer, I think the movie is very, very, very great. Something like that. So here are the two kinds of questions. The first is using to be, it's a condition, and the second is using action. So the answer depends on the question itself. And the second, when. When is used to ask about time, of course. For example, when will or when do the meeting start? So you can answer the meeting will start at 7. For example. And the second, when is your birthday? When is your birthday party? So it's asking about time. Here are the two different questions. The first one using do, the second one using is. Okay, you got it? You can practice. Okay. And the third, where, is used to ask about places. For example, where's my bag? Where's my bag? So the to be, for your information, the to be depends on the subject. The subject on the sentence is my bag. My bag is singular, so you need to use is. Okay? So where's my bag? My bag is in my room, for example. And the second example, where do you live? Why should we use do here, not does? Okay, it's because the subject is you, not she or he. Okay? You is plural, so you need to use do instead of does. How to answer this question? Where do you live? I live in Shifa, for example. And the third, who. Who is used to ask about people as a subject. For example, who do you love the most in your family? Who do you love the most in your family? I love my mom the most, for example, like that. And it's asking about the people as the subject. Who do you love the most in your family? So it's asking about the people, but the people is acting as the subject, not the object. Okay, maybe I'll explain this more next time. For next, who told you that story? It's like the first one. You ask someone who does something to you, so it's asking about people as a subject. Okay, it's different from this. Whom is used to ask about people as the object. It's pretty different from the first one because whom is asking someone or asking people as the object, not the subject. For example, whom do you see, Raisha? You can answer, I see Mr. Mark, my English teacher. So you are asking about Mr. Mark, where Mr. Mark is an object in this sentence. Mr. Mark doesn't do anything to you, but you do something to Mr. Mark. I think like that. So it's different between someone as the subject and someone as the object. Maybe you can ask me some question if you haven't understood this part. And the second example, whom is Jim talking to? He is talking to Jack, his new roommate. You are you are asking about Jack, and Jack here is an object, right? Get it? Okay, next, which is used to ask about choices. When you have two choices or more, maybe you need to ask to choose. So you need to use which. Which one do you choose, the left or right? Of all the drinks in the menu, which one would you like? So which is talking about the choices. And seven, who's is used to ask about possession. Sorry. For example, whose pencil is this? Is it yours? Whose means someone's belonging or someone's possession. Maybe you can ask me some question if you have understood this, if you have not understood this part. Whose books are these? Those books are mine, for example. So the whose question is asking for possession, someone's belonging. Okay, 8. Why? It is used to ask about reason or causes. Why does it happen? I don't understand. So it's like the others questions. When you use why, it should be followed by do, thus, or to be. The verb depends. The verb will be very important to know, so that you can determine whether it should be does or is, like that. And the second example, why is he crying? Okay, if I ask you why should we use is here, not do, does, or anything else, it's because the subject and the sentence is he is singular, so singular thing must be is for the verb, and here's crying is verb in. So why is he crying? If I change the subject into we, it will be are. Why are we crying? Okay, you got it? And the last, how it's used to ask about manner or process. How do you explain this problem? Please tell us. I think you have been very good at this because it's very familiar with you every day. And the second, how can you get here? So how is used to ask about manner or process. You have to explain it chronologically. It should be crystal clear. Okay, that's all for the WS questions. So the answers depend on the question itself. In general, when you are asking personal information, there are so many kinds of questions, but here are the popular ones. What's your name? What school do you go? What grade are you What grade are you now? How old are you? Where do you live? What's your phone number? Where are you from? Where do you come from? What's your hobby? I think it's pretty simple, but you must be thinking about the form, the pattern of making question itself. I think that's all for today. I'm so sorry because there are so many mistakes that I've made. You can ask me for more information in the next video that I'll make. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.